Lisa here from Learning with Lisa. On my channel, you will find tips and tricks of teaching online to help you begin your journey working remotely or working from home. So today I'm going to share with you some engagement tips for teaching on Zoom for Outschool. These are some tips that I've learned over the course of a few months, and I hope that these engagement tips will help you in your online classroom. If you have not already, please hit the subscribe button. I would so greatly appreciate it, and you will see all the upcoming videos I have for teaching on VIPKID as well as Outschool. If this video has resonated with you, please like it, leave a comment. Also, if you have any great engagement tips, please leave those in the comments so that we can all learn and share with each other. So if this is your first time teaching online and you have taught in a brick and mortar classroom like myself, you will find that teaching online is so different than teaching in the classroom. It's a lot easier, I feel personally, that to keep students engaged in the classroom because you have manipulatives and you have resources that will help, keep them engaged and focus on the lesson. But with teaching online, you have different ways that you can definitely keep them engaged, but I think it's a lot harder. So I'm just going to share some things that I've learned, things that work great for me. First and foremost, you want to just keep it simple. Try not to overthink it. You want to create your own digital content. So if you're creating digital content, that's going to draw their attention as well. If you're having graphics and lots of colors and pictures, that's going to draw their attention to the screen on camera and not away from the camera. So you could do that in a video, or you could do it in a slide presentation. That's a great way to kind of keep their focus and keep them engaged in the lesson. When you are teaching online, keep it simple, like I said, and keep it clear. Let them know exactly what you want them to do. When you start rambling off a bunch of things, they are like, what? Just like in a classroom. What? I don't know what the teacher wants me to do. And then they might cover their camera or they might walk away from the lesson. So again, keeping those directions clear and simple and making sure that they are piece by piece so that they understand exactly what they need to do. Be natural. I know that it's hard to be on camera. I understand that. When I first started doing videos for my YouTube channel, it was a lot. It was a lot for me to do because I was in a brick and mortar classroom. But I also started teaching for VIPKID before all this, so I've had lots of practice being on the camera and seeing my face on the camera with the student. So just try to be as natural as possible, and I promise you, over time, it gets way easier. But you do have to understand that this might be the first time the students have been on camera. So just have that empathy for those students, as well as try to have empathy for yourself and just be natural and be authentic. Have fun, be silly, be vulnerable, and just allow them to learn right alongside with you and show that personality and show them that you are a fun and loving teacher and that they want to keep coming back to you. And most importantly, be creative in your lessons. And I've talked about previous videos on how to create your lesson on Outschool, but be creative. Try to find those inviting lessons, those lessons that nobody else is teaching, and that will bring students to your classroom as well. But they'll also keep them coming to your classroom as they'll realize that they have so much fun in your class and they want to be right there with you teaching and learning. When you first begin teaching your class on Outschool, be sure to discuss the expectations or your rules or your norms, however you want to describe it, depending on the age level that you're teaching. But make sure that you go over those expectations. And it doesn't need to be chaotic. It's just real short, sweet, and simple right in the beginning, and then you can move right into your lesson. So just letting the students know exactly what your expectations are, as well as what your expectation is for the lesson today. Are they going to be participating a lot in groups or one-on-one? What are they going to be doing so that they know that when they go into the lesson and they know what they need to do by the end of the lesson. And also, it's great for parents to know as well what their child needs to do for that lesson. So making sure that you are going over the rules and you're sharing the expectations for the lesson or the course. So when you're teaching on Outschool, I say this not to be funny, but really, be normal. Just Be a normal person on camera. Have fun with the students. Show that trial. Show that error. Show that vulnerability. It's okay. The more that you have fun with the students, they're going to have so much more fun with you. So don't get that robotic, got to be real prim and proper. Okay, listen to me and only to me. Just have fun with it. Just whatever comes to mind, just have fun with it and show the students that, and they're going to always want to keep coming back to your classes. If you are somebody that is like, oh my gosh, I am just not comfortable on camera, and I just feel like I'm not loose and just having fun and just being me, not showing my personality, try to practice on camera. Maybe hold a Zoom class with just your family and your friends, and practice talking to people and seeing yourself on camera and asking questions. That might be a great way to kind of just release that anxiety and that nervousness. So ask them to join along with you before you actually start teaching for Outschool, and that might ease some of those nerves as well. But when you are doing that on camera with a family or friends, or when you're practicing, making sure that you're asking questions and that you are interacting in natural ways and that your conversation flows, because those are great ways to get the students engaged and to keep their attention at all times in the lesson. If you are real robotic, and if you are not comfortable in your classroom setting and you're not acting like a normal person, they are not going to stay engaged. They're going to be like, who is this teacher? So make sure that you are comfortable where you're at, sitting, standing up, whatever you need to do. Get yourself ready before you start teaching. Practice, practice, practice. And that will help you feel even more comfortable in your own skin and teaching online on Outschool. So if you have taught in a brick and mortar classroom, you know that just standing up in front of the class and preaching to the kids is not going to get their attention. Lecturing to them is not going to get their attention. In fact, when I taught in a brick and mortar classroom, we used the CheckIn instructional strategies, and that was getting that engagement up to 50% or to 100%. So when you're teaching online, engagement is so important. So providing different instructional strategies that's going to help students engage. So it's not just you talking to them at all times. So one of those ways that you can do that is to have what Zoom calls the breakout room. So if you have 6 kids in a class, you could break them out into groups of 3, and then they can talk. You will give them a question or a direction of what you want them to do, and then they will have a specific amount of time where they have to complete that task, talk about it, and then they will come back into the classroom. And I will have another video to show you exactly how to set all of that up coming up soon. So if you are providing those breakout sessions, keep in mind that this is a great way for students to get to know each other, as well as if it's been, one of the first few times that a student's been on camera, they're getting used to just being on camera in front of 2 other students versus 5 other kids as well as their classroom teacher. It's very intimidating for these kids. So having breakout sessions is a great way just to have that smaller, inviting classroom feel. They can interact and talk to each other and still stay on task for what question or task you have given them. Another great way to keep engagement, and again, this is something that you would do in your brick and mortar classroom, is to have a frequent check-in. So let's say you've done small groups in your breakout room, you bring the students back, and then you would just ask them to answer this question. Maybe they have their paper or their whiteboard, and you could say, okay, I want you to draw your favorite animal. So you would have the students draw their favorite animal, and then you would go around and ask them what they drew, or each other of the students could guess what they drew. So again, you're having that frequent check-in, one-on-one. You're getting the students talking in the whole class setting, as well as you are interacting with the student one-on-one. Another way to do a frequent check-in is to use the thumbs up and thumbs down icon on the Zoom platform. The students can click that thumbs up or thumbs down. Also, the student could just show on camera thumbs up or thumbs down. So you could ask a question such as, do you like vanilla ice cream? And real quick, thumbs up, yes or no. Do you like chocolate ice cream, thumbs up or thumbs down? So that's a great way to just check in real quick. Obviously, you can ask content-related questions depending on what you're teaching, but it's a real great way to kind of like scan and see how everybody's doing, and again, engagement, getting that engagement 100% in the class, and not just one student or not just you talking at all times. So sometimes we want to be able to get responses from individual students, maybe not necessarily in a breakout room or as a whole class. We want individual responses. So you could do that in a private chat session with each student. You could do it in the chat box as well. Sometimes students just don't want to say it on camera. They want to type it out. That is fine too. You could definitely use the chat box for that. Also, if you are wanting to do some type of like cold calling, be sure not to just say, Johnny, what is the answer to 3 plus 2? And that gets the students intimidated on camera. All these other students are listening. What if they don't know the answer? Oh my gosh. And then again, it's the same thing in the brick and mortar classroom. So maybe instead of doing it that way, you could say, okay, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to provide you some think time. So I want you to think about this question, and then I'm going to ask a few of you to share. So it takes off a little bit of the just, oh my gosh, the panic mode, and gives them that time to think about their answer so that they have time to process the question. So if you do decide to do that, cold calling, and then make sure you're inviting the students to think about their answer, providing the question ahead of time, and then they're prepared to answer. And if they're not wanting to answer or don't know, that's okay. You know, you can ask someone else or someone that shows interest in wanting to share. So just kind of be mindful of those situations, that this setting is new for a lot of kids, and they might not be comfortable being on camera. So just be mindful of that, as they would be mindful of you as well. So all in all, just like you're in a brick and mortar classroom, you were trying to build your community of students. Your classroom is going to change a lot with Outschool. Sometimes you might have a lot of recurring students, but these students are not always together, and so you want to build that community anytime that you can. You want to foster that engagement and foster that environment and allow students to make connections with one another, whether you do breakout groups or chats. You know, whatever it is, however you want to provide that engagement, but just try to find ways for students to make those connections, all while learning new content with your lesson. So when asking questions, sometimes it's beneficial to start off with questions that are not necessarily a right or wrong answer. Maybe you just want to know, if you're learning about seasons in your lesson, what is your favorite season? Is it fall, winter, spring, or summer? There's no right or wrong answer, and then students might be more eager to share their responses because they know that it doesn't matter what answer that they say, that it's just what their favorite is, what their favorite season is. So sometimes starting off with questions that are not necessarily right or wrong might get the students to be more comfortable on camera and just sharing out loud with their fellow peers. So when you are ensuring that engagement is happening, it's very easy to be teaching in the classroom and to just be picking on those students that are raising their hand or those that feel very confident in their own skin to share. We can oftentimes forget those other students that don't want to share or that are shy in the classroom, brick and mortar classroom setting, or online. So we need to kind of maybe keep a tally of your students in your class for that particular time and day, and just maybe check off how many times you have heard from them or you've asked them a question. So kind of just ensure that you are giving the quality instruction to all students and not just those that are eager to raise their hand. Just like in a classroom setting, we want to have 100% engagement at all times, as much as possible. So that should be your goal in the online setting as well. So find ways or just little tips that can help you keep track of who you've heard from or who you've asked a question to ensure that you are, again, giving that quality instruction to all students and not just those that are in favor of answering your question. So today I have shared with you just some engagement tips of teaching on Outschool, teaching online, and how we can get our students engaged and focused and wanting to participate in your lesson. So I will share in more detail in another video on the breakout rooms, as well as using like the thumbs up, a thumbs down icon, and the private chat. So you can kind of see how you're able to use that and incorporate it into your classroom and getting your students engaged at all times. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you are looking to teach on Outschool, please use my referral link in the box below. I would love to coach you, to work right alongside you, and to guide you through the application process, as well as beginning your journey teaching on Outschool. If you have any questions at all, please email me at learningwithlisa20@gmail.com. If you do decide to apply on Outschool, be sure to email me. I am not able to see your name, so I want to know that I can get in contact with you and guide you through every step of the way. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have not already, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, leave a comment, leave your engagement strategies as well, again, so we can all learn from each other. Have a wonderful day, and as always, go learn something new.